Hello and welcome to OSU Rio Live Streaming Thursday Telecast. I am Kimberly Rausch, moderator and program assistant with the Ohio State University South Centers. We at OSU South Centers collaborate with the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College to promote small business development, provide educational programs, and provide a platform for students and faculty to share activities as well as business development, agriculture, soil and water, and aquaculture research and best practices. Our mission is to provide programming to enhance and grow understanding in our Southern Ohio communities, in our state of Ohio, as well as across the United States and globally. Currently, over 100,000 viewers and listeners from 178 countries have tuned into our telecasts. Behind the scenes, we have Dwayne Rigsby, Technology Specialist, Patrick Dingle, Executive Producer of OSU Rio Live Streaming Telecast with the Ohio State University South Centers, and Mike Thompson, Director of Instructional Design and Media Services at the University of Rio Grande. This week's theme is International Culture. Today, we have a pre-recorded video that was originally previewed on September the 14th, 2016. It is The Voice of Rio Grande with host Dr. Richard Sachs, Provost of the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College, interviewing 3 Welsh students from the University of Welsh, Trinity Saint David, Carmarthen Campus. I hope I got that right. And then Jeanne Jones Jindra has been assisting those students at the University of Welsh, Trinity Saint David, and from the University of Rio Grande in cultural and educational exchange program. So enjoy.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Richard Sachs, Provost and VPAA at University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College in southeastern Ohio. Whenever I have an identity problem or I'm not sure who I am, it says Provost on the shirt, so I got to be the Provost. I am delighted with the 3 young ladies I have this afternoon. Immediately to my right is Rhiannon Sinnott. Next to her is Alexandra Deakin, and next to her is Emily Knell-Davies. All 3 of these young ladies are students at University of Wales, St. David's, in what they call primary education in Wales. I think what we would call elementary education here. And just going down the line, I'll ask Rhiannon first to introduce herself and give us a little bit about herself, and then Alexandra, and then Emily.
So yeah, I'm Rhiannon, I'm 27 and I'm from Swansea in Wales, and I'm just going into my 3rd year of teacher training, so as soon as we leave Rio to go home, we'll be going straight into that and finishing next May, and we'll be a qualified teacher. So that's me.
My name's Alex Deakin. I'm also in my 2nd year of primary education in Trinity and being qualified next year. I live in a place called Pembroke Dock, which is on the west coast of Wales, and it's in the county of Pembrokeshire, which is surrounded on 3 sides by coast, so it's really nice.
And I'm Emily. I'm in uni with these 2 on the same course, going into 3rd year. So the age that we're focusing on is 3 to 11, so younger children. I'm from Mid Wales in the Allen Valley, which is very rural. I live on a farm and our nearest neighbour's 3 miles away, so a lot more rural than here.
Okay, wow. Well, welcome to all of you. We're delighted to have you here. As most people know, in this part of the country, there's a very strong Welsh American element. In 1818, hundreds of Welsh people came over, both Welsh miners and also wealthy Welsh people who owned the mines. and they transferred to this area, and that's one of the reasons we have a Madog Center for Welsh Studies on this campus. We have, and correct my pronunciation, we have a Steadfed celebrations at Jackson High School and elsewhere. And we even offer Welsh 1 and Welsh 2, we have in the past at least, concerning Welsh language. So this is a real nice connection. Also, Rio has some strong traditions in teacher education, and I appreciate Emily telling me it's age 3 to 11 is for primary education. So 3 through 5 here would be early childhood, and 11 would take you up through about 5th grade. Now I know the East Coast prep schools in the United States use the term 3rd form, 4th form, 5th form, and 6th form for what we would normally call 9th through 12th grade. So if you go to Groton School in Massachusetts, the 11th graders say that they're in 5th form. In Wales, do the students, like in other parts of Europe, often decide whether they want to go to college around the age of 14, and some of them or not? What's the situation there in Wales?
So in Wales or in the UK, our students, they go to primary school up until 11. Then they go to comprehensive school, or some of the schools are known as high schools. Emily went to a high school, and she's, but we call it I went to Ponte de Lais Comprehensive School. So until they're 16, so that would be year 11. They do their GCSEs, and they get grades there, and then they decide whether they want to go to college, which is a 2-year. They can do A-levels, or they can do sort of work-based placements. And then when they're 18, that's when they can go to university. But not everybody goes straight away at 18. You can choose. I worked for a couple of years, and I'm quite late going in respect of with these. But that's the way. They do like a 3-year degree, or sometimes a 4-year degree from 18 to 21, 22.
Okay.
So it's a bit different.
And tell us a little bit about Trinity Saint David's. Is it a residential campus? Are there dormitories like we have here, or what?
Yeah, there are people that stay there, but because it's like a small uni, a lot of people do travel in at the moment. But it is small, and it's really friendly. It's quite like here, really, in that way.
Yeah.
Like, we know all the lecturers, and we'd stop and have a chat in the corridor, and we know a lot of the students there, and it's friendly.
Right. Now, I think ever since I teach American literature, American studies, American history, although I'm provost and I don't teach very much anymore, but I've taught classes on the American 1960s 3 times, and what we call the British invasion is very important with the Beatles coming over. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the original shows on Ed Sullivan, but they were on the Ed Sullivan show 3 weeks in a row, which was a record for him. He never brought people back 3 weeks in a row, and they were very popular. And if you see those old black and white shows, Ed loses his temper frequently because the women in the audience are going crazy, and he's just so annoyed at that. But one of you, I don't remember which one, when Jeanne Jindra sent the schedule over, one of you sent an email back to her that she forwarded to me. She was saying, how do you like the schedule? And one of you said, I think it's fab. And to me, that just brought back...
I don't know, I think it might have been me.
Or maybe you both said it, but we would say fabulous here. We'd never say fab. Yeah. So I love some of the British colloquialisms that I hear in your language.
Yeah, we have like a lot of area things as well. So like, because we're from 3 areas of Wales, some of the things we say are different. Like they say comprehensive school, and I say high school. So like...
Right.
We even between towns, quite near to each other, you have a lot of differences.
Yeah. Well, I promised you, as somebody who's taught medieval British outlaw literature, and it's all in iambic trimeter. So, and these would things that would be sung. Iambic is an unstressed and a stressed beat. Trimeter is 3 times. So I'm not going to try to sing this, but the opening of a Gest of Robin Hood is, Lithen, listen, gentlemen that be of free-bore blood, I'll tell you of a good yeoman, his name was Robin Hood. And so again, you see that every other line rhymes, and somebody with a better voice than me, and maybe, a handheld harp or something could sing this in a pub and at least get dinner and a couple beers out of it. But in one of the poems, there's, I guess it's a bad joke about Wales, and I'd love to hear your comment on it. As you may know, if you're familiar with the Robin Hood legend, Prince John, who became king 1199 to 1216, and he was such a bad king that in 1215 we got the Magna Carta out of it. But 1189 to 99, his brother, King Richard I, is king, but much of the time Richard, who we know as Coeur de Lion or Richard the Lionheart, was fighting, was away fighting one of the Crusades, and then he was captured in what's now Germany, and a big ransom had to be paid. So for all those reasons, that Prince John was not a very good leader, and they're overtaxing the people to pay the ransom to get Richard out. There was a lot of tension between the common people and the wealthy, and that leads to this legend of Robin Hood, and everybody is familiar with the Sheriff of Nottingham. You may be less familiar with Sir Guy of Gisborne, who was like his lieutenant. He was the guy who, or are you familiar with that term? Okay, that's great, because most American students aren't at all. So there's a great story when Prince John comes through, and he's so annoyed that there's this Robin Hood character. And so he tells the king, he tells the sheriff, he tells the Sheriff of Nottingham, Robert Durano, he said, you get your guy Gisborne and you go out and you come back with Robin Hood's head. And, you know, the sheriff is going, he'll be able to do that. And then Prince John says, if he does it, tell him there'll be something in it for him. I'll give him a castle. And then the sheriff says, oh, you're very generous. And then Prince John says, not that generous, it's in Wales. So I'd like to hear your comment on that, because as somebody who spent much of his life in Cleveland, Ohio, people always make fun of, saying things like, oh, the first prize person gets one night in Cleveland and the second prize gets 2 nights in Cleveland, as if that's not as good as one night in Cleveland. So there's all those Cleveland jokes. What's your response to that Welsh joke?
I think it might be something to do with the weather.
Okay.
It's constantly raining.
We've got some beautiful castles. It would be quite chuffed to have a castle.
Well, that's
We've
like
got
one of the
lovely
things we're
ones.
probably famous for is our
Yeah.
castles.
The old
They
castles.
are, they are old now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but once.
Right, and older than Robin Hood, the Arthurian legend, which dates about 300 years earlier, occurs in the west of England and in Wales, right? I mean, a lot of those stories are set right there on the border, and it's very rocky. I've seen pictures of it. It seems very beautiful. It seems very green, I guess because of the rain.
The rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's nice. We're really lucky, I think, where we are. And
definitely.
we were saying last night that well, me and Alex, we live quite close to the sea, so it's quite strange for us being here. We're quite landlocked here and not near to the not near to
Like
the
if you
sea,
climb
so
at
we're
the
very
top of
lucky.
like a hill, you can nearly
Yeah,
always see
you
the
can
sea.
look out right
Oh,
out
that sounds
and
beautiful.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
Just views.
Yeah. Well, we are close. We're just 11 miles from the Ohio River. Are they going to get down to Gallipolis at all? Good, good. So you can at least see the Ohio River, but you're right. You have to drive about 240 miles to get to the Great Lakes and probably about 400 miles to the East Coast to get to the Atlantic Ocean. Now, a lot of Americans, when they look on the map and they see how high up the British Isles are in terms of the hemisphere, they figure it's cold all the time. But because of the Gulf Stream, you actually have bathing, and I know 2 of you are, like Swansea's right on the coast, right?
Yeah.
I've just looked at the maps, and so what's it like? I know we always make fun of European people because they often, when they come to the States, especially the Germans, I'm not sure that the English do this, but you can always tell a German person because they come to the shore in short pants and then they have black socks and like dress shoes, and it's like, that's not how Americans access the ocean. But I know that bathing and going to the shore, like Bath, the town of Bath in England, you know, we get our term bathe from that because it's right there on the ocean. So tell us about some of the seaside places in Wales.
Oh, it's beautiful. And in Swansea, there's an area called the Gower, which is just like beautiful beaches. It goes right around the coast, and we can go in the sea. We do go in the sea. It's quite cold, but we just sort of, once you're in for a couple of minutes or so, you get used to it, and it's you know, it is you know, lovely. And you're quite lucky down in Pembroke. You've got a lot of
a lot of beautiful beaches. But if you were to go kayaking or something like that, we probably have full length kind of wetsuit on.
Sure.
Because it's just so cold. It's,
Yeah, the water's cold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
very
Alex lives in Pembrokeshire is a national park as
Yeah.
well. So I think it's like a protected area in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's like there's not that many of them. I think it might be similar to your state parks?
There's
Possibly.
Oh, sure.
There's three
Well,
national
yeah,
parks in
we have
Wales.
state parks and we have national parks.
you do.
So the national parks are generally funded much better, and they're dramatically beautiful places like Grand
Yeah.
Canyon and things like that. The state parks, actually we have a lot of state parks in this area. They're often just forests. And there is a tradition in the states. The state parks are always free. So you can go to your local state forest and have a picnic, have a walk, and there's no cost to you. Generally, the national parks now, there's a minor fee, like per car, it'll be $1, $2, $5, never more than $10.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have both those. My undergraduate college, the two oldest Quaker colleges in the country are Haverford College and Swarthmore College. I went to Haverford College, and I know that's a place name.
It's
Yeah.
Haverford West.
Yeah, Haverford West,
that's
exactly.
by me.
And at Bryn Mawr too. This is suburban Philadelphia, so it's right outside Philadelphia. All the dorms at Bryn Mawr, they had Pembroke East, Pembroke West,
No way.
Denby.
Oh, we have Tenby, not
No,
Den.
no, we have Denby as well. It's not Wales.
Denby with a D. I'm trying to think of some of the others. There's a house that we all called Betsy Coed, but it was spelled Bettyys, like Bedouise, something. And I have.
Better boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better circle.
I don't know if it's a place or not, but
Yeah.
we just called it Betsy Coed because we couldn't do the YYS thing. But all those names are just, and so I have to assume there were probably Welsh settlers there as well. Yeah. So tell us, what are the big towns? I've heard of Swansea, I've heard of Cardiff. What are the big towns, or where would you fly into if somebody's flying back to Wales?
Cardiff.
Cardiff?
Only Cardiff.
Only
Yeah,
Cardiff.
they used to fly into Swansea, but they stopped it years ago. Air Wales, and I think the planes were making too much noise going over the Gower, so
Where I
they
am,
don't
though,
fly
like,
in there anymore.
From Mid Wales, like you can drive across to like people fly into Bristol, people come to Birmingham and drive to Wales.
Okay.
Depending,
And sometimes
like,
you have to fly into London first and then,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then take a...
We
Yeah.
flew from London to come out over
Yeah.
here. You know, we didn't fly from Wales. We drove up to Heathrow and flew out. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you have an international license, any of you, or whether you're driving, but of course you're right-hand drive in England. And I'd love to go to England. I never have. I'm going to at some point in the future, I hope, to the British Isles. But the one time I was in a right-hand drive area, it was in the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean. And I rented a car, and they gave me a left-hand drive, a Datsun, what we would now call a Nissan. And then I pulled out driving on the right-hand side, and everybody was honking at me. And I think if I had a right-hand drive car, although it would be weird to do a stick shift with my left hand, but I know I watch. Do you guys watch Top Gear BBC?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love those three guys. I know they're off
Yeah,
and
they've got a
they're
new
doing
show
another
coming
show.
out now soon.
But I mean, they all argue for right-hand drive. This is the way you're supposed to drive. But for me, especially with the stick shift, I expect to use my right hand and be on the left-hand side, and it's opposite that. Even coming in from Columbus and being driven, did it seem weird that we're driving on the other side, or?
It was strange. You're not.
I find it quite easy to get used to actually. Like
Okay.
as soon as you land, it seems normal to me.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's so different here that like
Right.
I know I'm somewhere else.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
But you
was
almost got in the wrong
strange.
side of the car, didn't you?
Yeah, it was strange for me yesterday because I got in the front of the car, so I got on the right-hand side, and I expected that it just felt like I was getting in my own car, but except there was no steering wheel.
There's no
Obviously,
steering.
Jeanne was the other side, and
Yeah.
it did feel strange. We were turning into, we went to Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Yeah,
Chipotle, the
yesterday, and as we
Mexican
turned
restaurant.
in, there was a car there, and I thought they were on the wrong
Exactly.
side. They're in
Yeah.
my way, but they obviously weren't. So
Yeah.
I've been finding it strange, but.
Yeah. So I know I'm always told do not discuss politics or religion, but I'm going to discuss politics a little bit. How do you feel about Brexit, and what kind of impact might that have on you?
It's awful.
I think
for
it's
us.
awful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Wales voted it down. They didn't want to leave,
Wales,
right?
though, as a country, got more from the EU than we paid in,
Okay.
benefiting from
Wales
different
voted
schemes
out,
and stuff.
didn't they?
But Wales as a whole, voted out.
Voted out, which is
Yeah.
a shame, but
we
yeah. No. It's
Too
just,
late now.
No.
Get on with it.
I don't think it was very well, not advertised, that's the
Publicised
wrong word,
before.
but I think the
Right.
arguments maybe that they went with to try and get us to stay in perhaps weren't the strongest arguments, you know. So I think after the vote now, there's been a lot more, oh, actually, possibly shouldn't have left, you know, and maybe if there was a vote, maybe it would be different,
yeah,
you know.
the Out campaign
Yeah.
also lied a lot in their campaign, so they're being taken to court and stuff. So it's a
Oh,
bit,
really? I didn't
the
realize
news
that.
now even still's a bit not the greatest to listen to, because it's just all arguing still
Yeah.
about what they should or shouldn't have said
Yeah.
and what people should or shouldn't be doing right now about it.
But I
So
think no
we'll
one
see.
actually expected
No,
the
definitely
Leave
not.
I think you're
vote to
right.
actually
Yeah.
go
No.
through. I
Yeah.
think everyone thought, oh, vote out, but then we woke up in the morning and we were like,
It was a
oh my
shock.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the cable channels we can get in the States is BBC American. It's one of my favorite channels. And we watched all that night, and all night it was like 52-48
Yeah.
to
Yeah, it was
lead.
really close.
And it just didn't change, but it was interesting to see because Wales and I think the north of England also didn't want to leave. But it was certain areas that did and certain didn't.
Yeah.
And then the older people were voting to leave, but the younger people weren't. And
Yeah.
it was very interesting to see how they broke down that. Yeah. So, well, tell us more about, Emily, can you tell us a little bit about your farm? Because this is a big farming area. I don't know how much you've driven around, but I mean, we have working farms with cows, and a lot of corn comes from this area and things like that. What do you raise on your farm?
Yeah, we're a sheep farm,
Okay.
so it's 1,800 acres.
Oh, my word.
And it goes up to 1,800 feet. We're a hill farm.
Okay.
We're in Wales, so most of them are hill farms. And we just have sheep, although my sister has a collection of animals. She's got llamas and cooney pigs and a horse that she doesn't ride. But and some chickens. She just collects some animals, really.
Okay.
But the actual farm is sheep farming.
So you shear the sheep then several times a year? Or?
Yeah, we do a shearing day once a year. So like
Once a year. Okay.
we get people in to do it. So my cousin actually comes and does it.
Okay. And llamas, I know from the time I lived in Colorado, they're raising a lot of llamas in Colorado because the altitude is high, and I guess that's good for llamas or something?
Yeah, they do tend to naturally live
Okay.
higher, but I think they just fancied some, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're supposed to as well keep off foxes, so then she puts some by the chickens to scare
Yeah.
off the foxes, but it's
Yeah.
worked so far.
Now, the llama wool is very valuable, but you said your sister only has one of them, so that's not...
Oh, she's
yeah.
got two now and
Okay.
a baby cria, but we did get them shorn, but we haven't actually done anything with the wool yet. My mum was hoping to actually knit with it, but we haven't got around to that yet.
Okay. And do you sell the sheep for meat as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
we used to sell it direct to the public. We had a business selling meat. Mutton we eat, the older sheep.
Okay.
But now, yeah, we sell the sheep one, not as meat.
Okay. Okay. And in the States, what we call farmers markets are huge now, especially on Saturday mornings. So do you generally provide the wool and the sheep to suppliers, or do you take things to farmers markets?
We take the sheep to the market at the moment,
Okay.
but that's what we used to go around farmers markets. And the wool in Wales isn't really worth anything. We just send it all off at once, but it's really not worth anything.
Oh, really? And why is that?
I think because New Zealand wool's probably better. I'm not really
Oh,
sure, to be
okay.
honest.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's
Okay.
not worth. I think it's like 1 pence or something a sheep. So.
Okay. Well, good. That's fascinating. So in the States, we argue at universities, we argue for what we call general education. So all of our students, regardless of what they're majoring in, generally their major's only about 40 out of the 120 credits. So about a third of what they take is particularly in their major. And another 40 credits or so are what we call general ed. And then generally about 40 credits are just electives. You can take what you want. But the 40 credits of general ed are in every area almost across campus. And I've heard, and my students have heard, that in Europe that's generally not the case. You really specialize. Tell me about your academic programs.
So once you finish sixth form, so you get your A-levels, which are specialised subjects, so you pick about 3 or 4, I think. Then you'd pick a course in university, and ours is primary education with qualified teacher status. So that is what we do then for 3 years. And it just includes everything, doesn't it? But we've got different modules, but it's all related to education and the course. So it's pretty streamlined.
Okay.
We were speaking to some people yesterday, and it sounds like in America it's easier to sort of switch if they change their mind slightly about
Absolutely.
what direction you want to go with, whereas we like have to literally start again, because like originally started on a sports course, sports and physical education, and I did a year and decided I wanted to go into primary education, so I had to go back to first year, start again, start a new degree in a new university.
And none of your original credits went toward...
No, it's a different thing, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. The term we use in the United States, and I'm not always happy with it, is seamless transferability. So we like people to, oh, you wanted to be a business manager, oh, now you want to be a nurse.
Yeah.
You know, oh, now you want to do this. And sometimes if you really change radically, sometimes some of the credits won't count, but most of them generally do.
Yeah.
So that is a distinct difference in the system. Have any of you had to do any classroom observations yet? Have you been out in the schools? Is that part of your education, or is it just lecture?
Yeah, we go on teaching practice. So in the first and second year, we do 4-week block, 4-week blocks. So we do one in what we call the foundation phase, which is sort of 3 to 7, and then Key Stage 2 then goes up to age 11. So we do one 4-week block in foundation phase, one 4-week block in Key Stage 2. And then in our third year now, we'll do one 8-week block, but we specialise, so we can choose whether we want to just do foundation phase or just do Key Stage 2. And then that's what we'll do then in class. So we just go out and we're mentored quite heavily, aren't we? We've got, we work with the teachers, and we don't teach the whole 4 weeks. We do about 40%, 50%, and we have a go at marking and really trying to learn while we're on the job and observe everything as well. And it's quite an important part of our course, isn't it? It's
Definitely.
it's really
Okay.
it's really good.
It's the best part.
Okay. Well, do any of you have what we would call a target grade here? Because in the States, you generally do kindergarten through 8, or sometimes there's a pre-K through 3, which would be like 3 to 8-year-olds. The K through 8 would be like 5 to 14-year-olds. And sometimes people target like early L or upper L. There's a big difference between 11 and 3.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say, I want to teach the 10, 11-year-olds, or are you expected to have expertise throughout that age
Yeah,
group?
at the end of our course we're expected. So we apply for a job and we could be with a 3-year-old or an 11-year-old. It's just, to be honest, what job's there.
Right.
But like next year we specialise in one, but we're still qualified in all the 3 to 11-year-olds, so it is quite a big range.
Okay. I've got to. We've got to bring your fingernails up because I've been looking at these. Now we've got Rhiannon here, who is very patriotic American here, with the red and the blue.
Yeah.
And then we have Alex here, beautiful, like kind of powder blue. And then we have Emily with the natural look. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I just wanted to share that with the audience, because we were kind of joking about that earlier. We're just down to our last couple minutes here. Let's take you out of primary education, and you're part of the Welsh Tourist Board. Give our American audience reasons to visit Wales. I know the castles. I know it's got a lot of natural beauty. You can talk more about those things, or anything else that we haven't mentioned so far.
So yeah, I would say definitely you can go and see all the beaches. You can go up perhaps you can go up Snowdon, go around the Brecon Mountains, go all the way around. It is beautiful, it's gorgeous. You should come, and if you do get to come to Carmarthen, which is our campus, it is lovely. Everyone's really friendly, just like here. There's lots of trees and older buildings, and it's nice just to sit out. But I would say to bring a coat or bring a jumper. Don't just come like you would dress out here, definitely not. But yeah, I don't know.
And everyone's really friendly as well. So there's a bit of a joke that when there's kind of a sport on and people go up to London, that's the only time people will talk to each other on the tube, because the Welsh people would just talk to anybody, and they're so friendly and lovely. So,
I'd just say there's something for everyone, really. There's outdoor stuff, we've got indoor stuff, we've got the history, we've got natural beauty outside. Just whatever you're into, there'll be something for you.
That's great. And what are some of the favorite activities? I've noticed there's 3 or 4 campuses, and you said you're on the Carmarthen campus.
Yeah.
But you know, here sports are huge. So there's sporting events, there's theater events. Sometimes we'll show a movie. Same thing, or?
Rugby's definitely a big
Rugby,
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very passionate about rugby.
Okay, I'm getting the signal that this is the end. This has been a wonderful show. I think you should have them on again, just like Ed Sullivan with the Beatles. I think you got to bring. I think you got to bring them back next week, okay? Because people can't tell, but people are screaming in the audience for these 3 ladies. Thank you so much, Emily, Alex, Rhiannon. You've been wonderful guests. Have a wonderful visit here. We hope to
Thank
see
you
you
for
again.
having us. Thank you.